फिर भी देश तो आप ही का है ना?
नहीं, आपको लगता है दिल्ली ही हिंदुस्तान है। हमारे जैसे राज्य जो कोने में पड़े होते हैं आपके लिए कोई मायने नहीं रखता। बताओ क्यों?
जी,
क्योंकि वो छोटा राज्य है, बड़ा वोट बैंक नहीं है। दिल्ली का नजर वहां पर है जहां ज्यादा वोट हो। हमें तो मरने के लिए छोड़ रखा है।
आतंकवाद।
हम आतंकवादी नहीं है। We are not terrorists. We are revolutionaries.
There's a lot I need to get off my chest about Dil Se, you guys, but I feel like it might require a spin-off series of its own if I started talking about the film as a standalone piece of art and how it's criminally mistreated in today's frankly unnecessary woke pop culture. So I'll try to keep this video as specific to the movie itself as possible, and that too only one aspect of the film that many people miss out on when watching the film for the first time or even after multiple viewings. For those who don't know, Dil Se in 1998 was Tamil director Mani Ratnam's debut in the Hindi cinema that concurrently concluded his path-breaking terrorism trilogy that kickstarted with 1992's Roja and went through 1995's Bombay. The movie follows Amarkant Varma, a Delhi-based program executive at All India Radio, who embarks on a journey to Assam in order to cover the Republic Day festivities in the state. This is where he meets a mysteriously enigmatic woman by the name of Meghna, and soon falls in love with her, almost to a creepy level.
मेरे एक सवाल का जवाब दे दो, फिर मैं परेशान नहीं करूँगा।
तुम्हें कुछ नहीं मालूम।
मालूम करने के लिए तो आया हूँ।
तुम सब गलत समझ रहे हो।
तो तुम समझा दो।
तुम समझने की कोशिश क्यों नहीं करते?
तुम बताओगे नहीं तो मैं समझने की कोशिश कैसे करूँ?
मैं शादीशुदा हूँ।
Little does he know, however, Meghna actually turns out to be part of a liberationist group tasked with executing some deadly suicide bomb blasts around the country, particularly in the capital. But despite the animosity Meghna feels for Amar and his antics, and the deception Amar has already faced at the hands of Meghna, the two eventually embrace each other in the end, exploding into pieces as the film comes to an end. Now on surface, Dil Se is a pretty straightforward film about two strikingly opposite people with different experiences and outlook to society coming to a mutual acceptance of each other. But as many of us may have missed out to this very day, it's not as simple. See, Dil Se completes Mani Ratnam's trilogy of terrorism, and I say that again because they all share a very similar structure to each other when it comes to storytelling. All three films in Ratnam's trilogy follow a personal story each against the backdrop of some of the most hostile events in Indian history. Let's differentiate these two elements by calling them the conflict and the story. But the stories that these films choose to focus on are not merely some random people caught between the conflicts going on. No, the story is actually a very well-designed mirror to the very conflict the films shed light on. Take Bombay as an example. The conflict in Bombay was the 1993 Bombay riots after the demolition of the Babri Masjid, which led to religious hostilities between Hindus and Muslims. That was the conflict. The story in Bombay was about an intercaste married couple. That is, one was a Muslim and the other a Hindu, trying to stay alive amidst that conflict. And if that wasn't enough, the couple had a pair of twins, one named after his Hindu grandfather and the other after his Muslim grandfather. And that's how Ratnam uses the story in Bombay to mirror the conflict in the film. But since it wasn't as on the nose with Dil Se, some of us might have missed the subtlety of Amar and Meghna's story similarly mirroring the conflict Dil Se was shedding light on, especially if they hadn't seen Bombay prior.
इसका भी मतलब होता है कि तुम मेरे बिना जी नहीं सकती।
हाँ सच।
क्या?
मैं मर जाऊंगी।
सच? मेरे बिना?
यूं।
मरने को कौन कह रहा है? सिर्फ इतना कहो कि तुम मुझसे प्यार करती हो।
The conflict in Dil Se, as we all know, was the insurgency in the peripheral states of northeast India between the state and the marginalized communities there, who took up arms in an act of what they would call defiance and the state would call terrorism. Enter Amar, a program executive at All India Radio, a government-owned broadcasting agency. Hailing from Delhi and being part of media, Amar represents democracy. As part of the more dominant facet of Indian society, Amar is both the center and the privileged.
मैं भी गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट हूँ, ओके? मेरे पिताजी इंडियन आर्मी में थे, मारे गए। और मेरे पिताजी के पिताजी आजादी के लिए लड़े थे, INA में, जेल गए। और मुझे भी काफी फिक्र है हिंदुस्तान की।
Meghna, on the other hand, does not only come from a peripheral, marginalized background, she actually personifies that community throughout the film. having her innocence snatched away from her at a very young age, and her disdain towards Amar is really a POV representation of the separatist ideology she symbolizes. Once that part becomes clear, Mani Ratnam's Dil Se, from a zoomed out bird's eye view, becomes more than just an unconventional love story. It becomes more about the socio-political climate and the domestic power struggle at the face of the 50th anniversary of Indian independence.
इसी के बचने का और कोई रास्ता नहीं था। तुम्हारी तानाशाही से, तुम्हारी फौज से।
चुप चुप चुप। मैं जानता हूं फौज क्या है। तुम लोग लड़ मर के खत्म हो चुके होते। अरे हर एक गांव आपस में लड़ाई कर रहा है। अगर फौज ना होती तो इस देश के हजारों टुकड़े हो जाते, समझी?
Amar's unapologetic pursuit of Meghna as some sort of a rescue mission to save her from her dark reality, when he's the one who actually triggered the chain of events in the first place, represents the forceful enforcement of the state-imposed value system that alienated minorities find themselves at odds with. To one, this enforcement is the only path to unity and liberation, and to the other, it's plain intrusion of rights and freedom. One, again hailing from the center, having that nationalistic fervor, staying highly ignorant to the trauma-induced, discriminated individual standing in front of him, trying to be a savior when the absolute opposite emotion is reciprocated from the other side, and in the end, the acceptance. Not just between Amar and Meghna, but between the center and the peripheral, between the privileged and the marginalized. Of course, such an ending is just Ratnam's wishfulness of an impossible reconciliation between the budding rivals, but in my opinion, it's a perfect way to conclude his trilogy with hope. Dil Se has been called many things over the years: a film against national interest, a film celebrating toxic masculinity, and many more. But what a lot of people fail to understand is that the movie is an allegory, a metaphor that represents the political evolution the country was going through 50 years after its independence. It's just done in a more personalized way for us to see the larger conflict in a more relatable way. If you haven't seen Dil Se yet, well, sorry about the spoilers, but please watch it anyways and let me know here what you think about it. For those who have seen it, how has the movie aged for you guys? Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Filmanter for more such videos ahead, guys. With that out of the way, this is Amir and I will see you soon.